3, 2, 1, go!
Hey everybody, Aaron here. Welcome to another anime video. Today is going to be a discussion video. We're going to be talking about something very interesting. Before that though, I know some of you have been asking me outside of YouTube, and I don't get as many comments as I used to in the old days. Would I be planning to watch the summer 2020 season? I'm going to be watching a lot of the stuff that's actually airing right now or finishing airing right now. Only being because, everyone was like, oh my god, the quarantine happened obviously for the pandemic that we shall not talk about. But when that happened, a lot of people had a lot of free time. They were stuck at home, so they watched anime, played games. For the beginning of it, I had a lot of free time. I was stuck home playing games. But I also was an essential worker, so I'm still working, and I wasn't working as much, mind you, but I didn't have as much free time. I couldn't just dedicate myself only to anime. I had to, do the work thing. I had to still go to work. I had more days off. I had less time work, but still, priorities. I had to do stuff and all that. So, it wasn't like I had tons of free time. I had a lot more. I felt like I had a nice vacation of sorts, but I still had to work, unfortunately. But anyways, besides that though, I'm grateful that so far, thank God, I haven't got sick. I know some of my friends got sick from it. That didn't, mind you, were nowhere near me. They worked in different states and stuff like that. But I know some of them were definitely had to deal with that. So thankfully they're all doing well. They're all surviving this as best as they can. But it's been crazy. It's been a crazy several months. I'll tell you that right now. But, yeah, for the summer stuff, I don't want to say that I'm watching this or that, because right now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to be reviewing for this season. Like, the only two shows I've been really keeping up with, and I mean, like, on BladeNinja and Sing For Me Yesterday. In terms of Tower of God, I fell off Tower of God a little bit, not because I don't like the show. I love Tower of God. I like the webtoon a little better than animation. I have some issues with the anime so far. It's not per se bad, it's just some minor issues here and there. And a lot of people agree with certain things with them, so that's why I know I'm not crazy. But and then other shows, I kind of just pushed to the wayside. Like, I was like, you know what? They were delayed so much. Like, there were so many shows I was watching in the spring that were delayed, and even now they're not fully finished. Or they're, like, at least they got delayed till the point that when they finally finished, I forgot about them. So I had to go back and rewatch a lot of those shows. So I don't want to say that I'll be watching this show during the summer or this show. I'll tell you right now, like, ReZero, I'll definitely be watching. I love ReZero. Sword Art Online, I'll definitely be watching those shows. Anything else, I don't know. It's going to come down to what I can finish and what I can get to. So we're going to talk about that when the time comes. Sing For Me Yesterday, I'm going to try to have a review out possibly this week coming. Possibly, not possibly. Possibly this week coming. I will try to have a review of BladeNinja out when it comes and finishes, because it's on the final episode as of this week. So it'll be finishing possibly, I think, Sunday or Monday, around that. So I'll have a review out what I can for that. It's going to be depending on my schedule for work and all that, because I do have to still work, obviously. Anyways, so as you see from the title, this is not going to be, per se, anything about me talking about anime of like, oh, what I'll be watching or anything like that. I kind of want to talk about how life's been, because of how I'm older now, and it's starting to dawn on me that, has things changed for me in terms of my anime viewing experience. So I'll put it this way, folks. One thing, if you guys are new to my channel, hey, welcome to my channel. I appreciate you being here. I'm surprised that I still get a lot of comments. I get a lot of comments more on my older reviews, and I get subscribers for my older stuff. So I was like thinking that I know you guys really prefer my older reviews more than my current stuff. I try to do more older stuff, and obviously, that gets more things. I keep saying the word obviously today. I don't know why. But aside from that, it's crazy, because when I started watching anime, I was a kid, as many of you might know. I'm not going to go through the whole spiel over that. But I started as a kid. I watched a lot of older TV shows. Old shows like Gigantor, Speed Racer, Voltron, etc. I watched a ton of older anime, and then I started getting into Pokemon, Digimon, Guyver. Obviously, was like one of my first shows. Again, I said obviously again. I'm not saying that. But anyways, I was watching all these older shows, and I got, I really loved anime. I fell in love with anime at a very young age. I was like probably 6 or 5 when I was really die-hard anime fan already. Now I am 30. If you guys didn't know, I turned 30 June 3rd. It was my birthday like several weeks ago now. So thank you for the belated birthdays and wishes and all that. Thank you very much. I know some of you got to comment because a few of you might have missed it. But I turned 30, and it dawned on me that I think my taste in anime has changed a little bit. Not per se dramatically. Like, I'm not like, oh my god, I don't like anime anymore. I still love anime. Anime is still, to me, one of the most important things I do. You know, it's something that just is what relieves me of stress. It makes me happy watching a lot of shows. It puts me in a different realm. It's like books. Like, I don't read books as much as I used to when I was younger, but I still love books. It's something that will never change with me because I just love it like that. Anime too. I think it's I've slowed down what I watch. I don't watch as many things as I used to. When I was in high school, even when I was a kid, I used to binge anime. Like, it was going out of style. Every show that I could get my hands on, I would plow through it in maybe like a day. Eureka 7 was 50 episodes. I remember when Eureka 7 aired, roughly about, well, finally came out, I should say, in the Western audience. It was like, what, 2012, maybe a little before that. I binged the crap out of it. I finished, no, it was not 2012, it was way before that, because I was still in high school. So it was like around maybe 2000, we'll say 6 or 7. We'll just bullshit the number for that. But you get the point. I binged watched it in high school. I mean, I stayed up and watched every episode of the course of like 2 days. I got like maybe 2 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep between those days. I was just watching every episode. I loved Eureka 7. You know, it was something that it really made me super happy because I loved the whole story. I loved the concept. You know, but a lot of shows, like, the whole point of it is that I was binging anime left and right when I was younger. You know, as a teenager, as a kid, I couldn't get enough of anime. When I got to my college years, I think anime fell down a little bit because I found that I had to focus more on schoolwork. I had to focus on more life stuff. I couldn't really binge anime as much as I used to. Don't get me wrong, I still would watch some anime shows in one day. Like, for example, it was a Shiro... no, it's not Shiro Mecha. I forgot the name of the show off the top of my head, and I know I'm going to punch myself in the face when I really remember it. But it was basically like the show about how it's in the future it was bad to actually think about dirty thoughts, and the main girl, she used to wear a pair of panties on her head, and she would like cause all this stuff by, you know, throwing around letters and pamphlets telling people that to feed into their carnal desires. So you guys, I know you guys already know what I'm talking about, but I binged that in one day. I watched it all 5 hours worth of that show in one sitting. I did not stop. I just watched all of it because it was funny. I loved that show. And that was when I was older already. And it goes to show you that I still can binge watch anime. I still can watch tons of anime and not have a problem with it. It's just that when I realized that once I started working is when things slowed down. You know, once I started having more responsibility put onto me, as much as I would love to binge anime, I had other things that I wanted to do too. I wanted to play games. I want to read manga. I want to read books. You know, I still want to write because I do have technically 2 jobs. It became this thing where I was like doing a juggling act of like, what do I do? You know, I know some fans say that they could watch anime like they used to and be okay with it. And I know other people that also have hit my age and started realizing, yeah, I can't watch, you know, a 30 episode show in 2 days. I gotta like binge watch it over the course of like a month and a half. And it kind of happens, you know, you can't really do it like you used to. It sucks in a way, but at the same token, I'm very appreciative that I still love anime, because I really thought when I was gonna get older, I was worried about that. You know, I was always thinking that as my age progressed, I would stop loving anime. I would start saying, oh, you know what, anime is for kids or whatever, because I had heard so many people like me that started off watching anime, the classics, and then as they got older, they started going, well, you know, I can't get into that anymore. I still can watch everything. I still can watch, you know, tons of high school romance stuff. I can still watch tons of drama. I can still watch, you know, all these isekai and stuff like that. I can watch that and be like, I still love anime. Thankfully, I still have that in my veins, that anime is still a big part of my life. I have noticed that my tastes in anime, though, have changed a little bit. Like, I still love romance. I still think of it as probably one of my top favorite genres, but I'm more picky about it now. Like, when I was younger, I used to love all types of romance. I used to be like, oh, high school romance, let's watch it. I'll watch Clannad 20 times. I'm okay with that. I'll watch, you know, all these dramas and stuff like that. You know, even outside of anime, I'd watch a lot of romance stuff because I love the genre in general. But as I get older, I was like, you know what? This is kind of corny. I'll be like, oh, well, you know, I don't really per se like how this is going, or I feel like this is just melodrama at this point. I started noticing the little nitpicky things that people didn't notice before, because I started realizing that, you know, the high school stuff, I've gotten past that already. I've experienced that already, and I know what's real, what's complete bullshit, and then what's kind of like, man, you know, it's like, it's not as important. And it definitely changes your outlook on anime. Like, you know, as I got older, it does change your outlook a little bit on anime. Like, I still have that burning desire to watch everything. I still want to watch every show. But the kiddie shows, like, for example, like, I haven't watched Pokemon in a long time. Listen, I know there's a lot of Pokemon fans out there that want to really, like, to go outside my house and start with the pitchforks and stuff like that. Please don't. I still love Pokemon. I still have an understanding that it's still something very important to how I grew up as an anime fan. But at the same token, it's like, Pokemon to me has not changed. It's still the same concept, and I mean, I get it. It's the concept of it that's not supposed to change that people love about it, but it's getting old. It feels like I've seen it already before. It's like the same format over and over again, and you know, it's a little tedious. Like, you know, I know a lot of people are watching the Digimon Adventures remake that they made, and I started watching a little bit of it and went, I like the original better. I really did not like the new one too much. I didn't even bother watching the rest of it. I stopped watching it after, I think, the second episode or third episode. You know, I love the movies. The movies were great. I had some issues with the movie. I did reviews on most of them, but I definitely had some issues with some of the movies. I hated the ending of the last movie because of how it did something where one of the characters said something stupid in it, but I still loved it because I think it hit the note that it was like, okay, see, the audience is now older, so it realized the audience is older and played with that concept behind it. So it's like, it still had the childish elements, so like a kid could watch Digimon Adventures Try, which was what the movie series was called, and still love it. But as an adult, if you were someone who grew up with Digimon Adventures, you loved it because you're like, I remember these characters. I remember their dramas. I remember their fights. I remember Tai having to struggle to be a leader as a kid, mind you. You know, when you have all these people next to him that saw him as the leader when he's only a kid, you know? I saw that, and I understood it, and I loved it, and I still can get behind Digimon Adventures Try. Like, I could still love it. But, yeah, as you get older, your anime tastes change. And it's not per se, like, you know, in a bad way. I think it's just that now I've come to understand that I can't watch the same shows and be like, oh, I love this show, I think this is great, or I hate this show because of this. More so, I think it's that as I've gotten older, I've just seen anime in a different light. I see it as something now where I'm more nitpicky about it. And not in a way that like I review something I hated, like, oh, I still always make sure that I take myself out of the equation when it comes to all that stuff, because one of the things that I hate reviewers doing, and it's very easy to do because you don't realize it, but you put yourself first and foremost into what you like or dislike about a show. I understand as a viewer, that you are the one reviewing it, so it's like you are there saying I like or dislike something, but you have to also take yourself out of the equation because you have to realize that not everything is going to be to your taste. Not everything is going to be to your level of standards, and that's the problem with a lot of anime reviews. And sometimes I fall into the same category, unfortunately. But you want to say the show sucks. You want to be like, oh, I can't stand I can't stand Gluttony. I heard a lot of people disliking Gluttony. And why is it this? Like, do you dislike it because of the action element, the fantasy element, the concept that it's kind of a very strange mixture of different genres? What do you dislike about it? Is it because of that you dislike it, or is it because it's doing something bad? You know, what is it that did you dislike about it? Because there's a difference between something being done bad or poorly, Berserk 2016, for example. But then there's also the fact, like, for example, going to Berserk 2016. I love Berserk 2016. People hate it. I understand why people hate it, because it's, in terms of visuals, it's horrible. It is one of the worst ways to do Berserk, because Berserk's manga is beautiful. It's so detailed. It's so, like, you know, it has weird stuff here and there, but it's done even then beautifully. And then you have the anime, which is done lazily. You can tell the studio did it in a very lazy way. When I reviewed it in both sections of me loving the show because I loved it, but also because I realized how bad it looked. I put that into my review. I forgot exactly what I gave it, but I think it was like C+ or B-. But I put myself in that equation that it was like, okay, I love it, hate it, but also know why people might love it, hate it. You know, you have to do that as a review. It's very hard to do that. As I've gotten older, I've embraced that, because now I understand it even more. Now it's like when I watch a show that's geared for teenagers, I understand that I'm not a teenager. I'm now an adult. You know, I've been an adult for a long time, obviously, but now I'm officially, like, 30 years old, I think, is when you really consider yourself an actual adult, I think, beyond anything else. You know, you can say you're, 18, 21, etc., but I think when you hit 30, you realize that's a whole different peak of your life now. And when I hit that, I realized, okay, this is how I'm going to view anime now. This is how I'm going to see it. And it's something that I began to realize it as I was going through the days of June. I was like, wow, I have a different understanding of anime now. I have a different outlook towards it. I don't know if it's right or wrong. It's just my way of thinking. You know, it's something that I see myself looking at anime that way. But that's why I want to leave this question before I kind of wrap up everything with, one final phrase. I want to ask you guys, for especially the older audiences out there, have you changed your outlooks towards anime? Have you loved or disliked anime less or more as you've gotten older? Because I'm very curious about that. I've heard a lot of different spectrums. I really have. I've heard some people saying that as they got older, they hated anime now. I've heard some people that say it hasn't changed them at all for them, and I've heard some people mixed with like some of my stuff where it's like, yeah, some things now don't click with them as much. You know, the high school romance feels a little shallow now because now you're like, I want to see stuff more like otaku, which you see office romance, you see stuff that's like adult romance, even MMO junkie, you see stuff that's like more up to date with you, like a lot of my waifus. I still love, like Rem. I still love all these girls and stuff like that. But at the same token, I realize my age. Like you realize, like, okay, there's a big gap now between that. Like now, I can't love them as much, even though they're fictional. It's like I lean more toward the girls that I know are my age per se in anime. Like, I love what's that one girl from what is the Science of Love? It's a show that was like focused solely on two. It was like the main girl was a college student, and she was with another college student. Both of them were in love with each other, but they're both scientists, and their love concept is all messed up because they don't know how to really say they love each other. I love that girl because I was like, yeah, that's someone I can kind of get with. I can see in my mind, my age category, Even Watako, I love the main girl from that because I was like, she's a gamer / she loves anime. That's me. I still love that stuff, So it's crazy because you realize, okay, your anime tastes do change a little bit. But yeah, like I said before, the question for you guys that hopefully you'll answer in the comments below: has anime changed for you as you've gotten older? Do you experience it differently? Do you love, hate it more? Do you what are your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments below. I will talk to you guys later. Like I said before, Glepnir and A Sing For Me Yesterday will be done soon. I know I wish I could do them the days they were released and finished, but a little harder with my schedule, so I can't really do that. It's working the morning shift sometimes is a little tough. It kills your momentum a lot of stuff, so I apologize for that. But hopefully I'll talk to you guys later. You have a great, blessed night, everyone. God bless you all. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.